welcome to Coffee with Marci. Are you wondering why your college graduate can't land a job in corporate America? Well, you're not alone. And it's not because there aren't a lot of great jobs out there. Beth Hendler-Grunt, the founder of Next Great Step, is going to tell us how to help your college graduate find their dream job. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on the show.
My pleasure.
And I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to value this information. So you used to be in corporate America yourself.
I did. I was for many years, yes.
So what brought you to this place? Why did you open up Next Great Step?
So I was in corporate America for about 15 years working for a high-tech company. Mm-hmm. And then for 10 years I worked for a consulting firm. And what I learned in that consulting environment, where we were advising executives on helping them be successful in their business, was that we'd talk about hiring and they would say, I'd love to bring new recent grads into our business, but we just don't feel they're ready. They either don't understand how to talk about themselves, they don't understand the scope of the problems that we're dealing with, and I don't have time to handhold them and babysit.
Yeah.
And then I'd have parents and friends of mine say, I don't understand. My student went to a great school, they did well, and for some reason they just can't get a job.
Yeah.
So when I kept hearing these two concerns, I kind of decided that maybe the techniques that we were teaching executives could be taught to students in a really simplified way.
Yeah.
And that's how I founded Next Great Step.
That's fantastic. And it's so true because there are those issues, right? I mean, I think it's difficult to talk about ourselves anyway, right? So to be a young person and then to have to sell yourself.
Absolutely.
And not understanding what's really going on in the corporate world. So what an incredible thing you're doing. So let's talk about what are the complaints that, well, you talked a little bit about the parents and what their complaints are, but let's talk about the process and who's reaching out to you and what happens.
Sure. So very often parents will contact us directly and share usually one of two things. Either they're sharing that they're concerned that they thought their student did all the right things. They went to a great school. They studied a major that they thought would be, easily to get hired, but somehow their student's still at home or struggling with the process. So, and candidly, because you're dealing with children who are also adults, sometimes they don't want to listen to their parents.
Of course.
Sometimes you might need an outside person to lend some guidance. The other thing we hear is that lots of parents are connected to great contacts in a corporate environment, and they'll make an introduction, but their child, after they make the introduction, doesn't necessarily do as well, or they're too casual about it, or they take it for granted that mom or dad will help me get the job. But when it comes down to business and money and someone's reputation of saying, go hire this person, it's a lot more serious, and I don't think they realize that. So a lot of times these connections, sometimes they're blowing it, where they're not prepared and they're not ready to talk about themselves and how they can add value. So so parents, it's not easy, as I am also a parent of a college student too, so I absolutely understand the challenge of wanting what's best for your child and your grown child, but being able to guide them as well.
So we talked about the process, but what types of things do you instruct them to do?
So we really, as I said earlier, help them getting focused and really understanding the process of how to go about it. But maybe three things that we focus in on, and that even things if parents are watching, if they wanted to help their student, is the first thing is just the self-awareness of understanding your own skills. That's probably one of the most important pieces of understanding this concept of what I call your core skills. What are the things that you're the most competent, most skilled at, and you enjoy doing? And that when you understand those, it makes it easy to talk to someone, because I try to get it down to 3.
Okay.
So people can usually remember things in 3. So if you can share with someone, I have the ability to analyze information, I'm a strong writer, and I know how to sell, like people can grab onto that, and you back it up with good examples. So that's a really important one of just understanding what your core skills are.
Okay.
And as a parent, to help sometimes your child or your student identify that, it will help them get clear in their message. It also helps you clarify looking for opportunities that leverage those skills.
Okay.
The other thing is that they have to get on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It is the best free offer of information and access to people that you could do to network.
Absolutely.
And the networking aspect is really critical to reach out to people in the fields that you want to be in, to between finding alumni or family friends. It's such a fantastic resource to make sure, one, that you are on there that yourself, and your student should have a professional picture. Their profile should be filled out with their resume, and they need to start reaching out to people to network and add connections, and then select the key ones to really reach out to with a message to talk further. It's a really important piece of the job search process.
Okay.
And the last piece that I advise is just about, you have to persist and persevere.
Yeah.
One email to somebody or one phone call will not land you the job.
No.
You need to keep at it. And students will tell me, well, I tried to call them and I didn't hear back, so they must not want me.
Yeah.
And really to encourage them that to keep at it.
You don't want to feel bad. I mean, don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad. You're
About-
not bothering them. That's
exactly.
They always say, I don't want to bother them. I
Yeah.
said, you're not, as long as you're not doing it every single day, I say once every 7 days.
It's the reminder.
People
God,
need to be
yes,
reminded. You
yes.
have to be persistent, and it takes time.
Yeah.
So it's not an immediate gratification process the way it is in so many
I
other
know,
things.
I know.
It takes effort and time, but it does come together. But you have to keep at it.
And when's a good time for a college student to start working with you?
I find earlier is better.
Okay.
When I have students that we start working together, starting even sophomore year of college, especially junior year, even focusing on that junior year internship, which is a really important piece of the process.
Yes.
That is really helpful because they start to understand how to talk about yourself in a really clear way, how to be more directed about the types of opportunities you want to uncover, how to talk to people and ask good questions. So I find the earlier is better, but by all means, I have students who are about to graduate, those that graduated last year, even a couple years ago, that just haven't found their way yet. So really from sophomore year on, we're happy to work with them.
Okay, so what's the process?
So the process would be either a parent or student would get in touch with us, and we actually offer a 30-minute free consultation.
Okay.
And once we have that consultation, we can have a good sense of what package fits best, because we provide one-on-one advising. We also have some video content and courses that we're rolling out as well. But once we speak, then we can have the best assessment of what's the right path for that
Right, because
student.
it's different for every student.
That's true. That's
Right?
true. Yes.
And do they have to meet you in person?
They do not have to meet in person.
Okay.
So the beauty of technology
Yes.
is great. So even if I have a parent here in New Jersey, but the student goes to school across the country, we can video with them.
Yes.
We do all of our content, and we can share documents and do all of the advising and the consultation online as well. And I also have an office in our office in Livingston, New Jersey, for those who want to meet in person. So we offer both.
All right. And so do you help with resume and the interview process and finding the jobs and
Yes. All of the above. All of the above. I would say, the way I explain it is we support students in two main areas. One is to help them get focused, because I find lots of students, even though you might have studied a particular major, they're not always sure, what do I do with it?
Yes.
How do I turn that into a job? What does that look like? So we help them get focused.
Okay.
And then once it's narrowed down and we look at a few choices, then is the process of, well, then how do I then get a job?
Yeah.
And teaching them how to network, how to use LinkedIn, how to write a letter to someone that makes them want to talk to you, how to have an informational interview, how to have a formal interview, how to make sure that your resume and that your entire story has this very consistent branded experience of who you are and what you can offer. So yes to all of the above.
Because you do have to market yourself.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Really, I do make that a piece of how you sell yourself. It's really important.
And on the internship, I would think that you need to be very strategic also in that area to help you later on to find a job.
Yes. I mean, internships are a great way to test out whether you like something, and what a great experience to figure out whether you like it or you don't early on, when you can take those risks before you have more obligations later in life. And it's important. I don't think it's as critical about what you are doing. It's nice to do something in your path, but to show that you did something where you learned something, that you were able to accomplish it, maybe you showed some leadership, and that you're able to explain that back to people, when you're interviewing for opportunities.
Yeah. So what makes you different than a regular career coach then?
That's a great question. So what's different about Next Great Step is primarily our focus solely on college students and recent grads. It's not an add-on for us. That's all we do. And I think understanding that market and the mindset really enables us to be solely focused on them and help them bring them success. The other piece I think that really makes us unique is that the experience that we bring from the corporate world and advising executives, and we really understand what a company and what an employer expects of a candidate. And we bring that to our students so they understand what the other side is thinking. Very often I tell them to try to put themselves in that person's shoes and think about what do you think is important to them and what choices they would make based on the criteria they look for. So I think our ability to focus on students, to bring the corporate background, and that we really create this customized experience for students. We have an incredibly high success rate of students getting jobs once they work with us.
That's great. So the success rate, I know that's important.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Absolutely. So we've done very well. We'll be going on 3 years this coming April. And we have over an 80% success rate where students really are able to get a legitimately good job in the field that they want to move forward in. And we're teaching them techniques that teaches them not only how to get that first job, but how do you then get promoted? How do you get to the next job? It's really the foundation of how to move yourself through and promote yourself. And I think once they learn it, I'm thrilled. We've had just tremendous success with students.
And as far as who they're working with, so is someone assigned to them? How many people do you have working with you? Do you match them with someone you think would be a great fit for them? Like, how does that work?
That's a great question. So right now it's myself and I have a colleague. Her name is Lauren. And the two of us together are managing it. And we both understand the process and the approach, which I think is unique in that I'm really bringing it from the consulting work I had. So it's not a typical let's just fix your resume. And really very methodically and provide a very structured step-by-step approach. Because students are sometimes very overwhelmed at the overall process, so we try to make it where they understand how to do, piece by piece.
Everyone involved is overwhelmed.
So she and I have the same. I have a little bit more of a sales and marketing background. She has a little bit more of a financial, and we'll decide based on what the interest of the client of what fits them best.
And how about the millennials? How do they respond?
Overall, I think they respond quite well. I think one of the things that I see is this, they're very fragile. They're very worried, or if they have one rejection or someone doesn't return a phone call, they take it personally, and it really shatters their confidence. And one of the things that we really try to focus on is helping them realize how much they have to offer and how much they should feel so good about and feeling confident. And a lot of it is just helping them get the right words together and the right little elevator pitch about yourself. And I think they respond well, because I think they do come away feeling a lot more focused and a lot more confident than then they walked in. I didn't give them any more skills. They have them. They just didn't know how to put it together. And I give them some of those tools of maybe how to present it in a more concise way, not giving, a laundry list of things or being too vague. It's kind of just in the right level of how to promote themselves.
I think that's so important because, how would they know going into this process? And it is very hard when you are rejected in some way to manage that. And the fact that you also help with that is so imperative. And for them to move forward. And I love what you said, that once they get that job, you teach them, or you continue with them on that path to get the promotion.
Right.
Because, you know, sometimes we need that push
Yeah.
and the skill set to do those things.
Yeah.
So it's not just about getting a job.
Yeah. It's a great point. And even those who get an internship and then they wonder why they didn't get invited back. And I always ask, well, what did you do while you were there? Were you curious? Did you take on more work? Did you ask for feedback? Did you ask for opportunities? Right. So I try to constantly make them think about, it's not just great, I got the job.
Yeah.
It's what can I do while I'm there to continually not only do the work that I need to do, but are you still talking to all the people in your department? Are you networking with them? Are you getting to know more people and promoting and just letting people know the great work that you're doing?
Yeah.
Because people don't always know. You have to tell them.
You have to go that extra step.
You do.
You do, and you can't feel uncomfortable about that.
Yes. Yeah, and it's throughout your whole career. I mean,
Exactly.
for anyone who's in the working place knows that you have to continually let someone know how good you are in order for them to know it.
And not to feel bad about talking or boasting about yourself.
Yes.
Because you're the one who has to do it, and you can't depend on somebody else to be patting you on the back.
Correct.
And being a cheerleader.
Correct. Yeah, you bring up a great point too. I have a number of students who are worried that they sound like they're bragging, or they said, how do I talk about myself without sounding that I'm saying too much and it's not appealing? And I really focus in on, let's talk about like the facts. Focus on what you actually did, not saying how great you are, but that you accomplished something, that I filed this many papers, or I worked with this many clients, or I helped us get 100 more likes on our website because of my copy on a social media post. So I help them try to stick to the facts of what was accomplished, and therefore you don't come across as bragging. This is what I did, and you should know how it impacted the business.
And also, if you're brought on for one specific thing, let's say in an internship, and you have a skill set in another area that maybe you could help.
Yes.
And social media and all of those technical things that millennials are so strong in.
That's right.
That maybe someone else in a higher position is not familiar with.
That's right. There's a lot that I think a lot of the corporate workplace can learn from millennials, that there's so much that they have to offer. Millennials just have to feel that they can go out and offer
Exactly, because they need you. And they need you, Beth. So thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing about Next Great Step. And if you guys are looking for some help, moms, dads, millennials, any college graduate or still in college, please reach out to Beth Hendler-Grunt, founder of Next Great Step, and she will help you through this process. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye, guys.